It's true that some things change as we get older. But if you're a woman over 40 and you're dealing with insomnia, brain fog, moodiness, and weight gain, you don't have to accept it as just another part of aging. And with Midi Health, you can get help and stop pushing through it alone. The experts at Midi understand that all these symptoms can be connected to the hormonal changes that happen around menopause, and Midi can help you feel more like yourself again. Many healthcare providers aren't trained to treat or even recognize menopause symptoms. Midi clinicians are menopause experts. They're dedicated to providing safe, effective, FDA-approved solutions for dozens of hormonal symptoms, not just hot flashes. Most importantly, they're covered by insurance. 91% of Midi patients get relief from symptoms within just 2 months. You deserve to feel great. Book your virtual visit today at joinmidi.com. That's joinmidi.com.
Lucky Land Casino, asking people, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
Lucky? In line at the deli, I guess?
Aha, in my dentist's office. More than once, actually.
Do I have to say?
Yes, you do.
In the car before my kids' PTA meeting.
Really?
Yes.
Excuse me, what's the weirdest place you've gotten lucky?
I never win and tell.
Well, there you have it. You can get lucky anywhere, playing at LuckyLandSlots.com. Play for free right now. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
In the dying embers of human existence, as the asteroid, a behemoth the size of Texas, hurtles relentlessly toward Earth, the world braces for an apocalyptic end. Deep beneath the bunker, a refuge plunges into the bowels of the Earth. Here the chosen gather, their purpose clear, to preserve the very soul of our civilization. The 35 and 70 millimeter prints that encapsulate the magic, the emotion, and the dreams of generations past. These masterpieces, each frame a testament to the human spirit, are carefully cataloged and cradled in the cavernous confines of the bunker. Perhaps there was room for more. For friends and family yearning for salvation, but sacrifices must be made. The movie nerds stand united, the keepers of a flame, promising a future where the art of storytelling endures, transcending the boundaries of time and space. God help us all.
Welcome to Back to the Frame Rate, part of the Western Media Podcast Network. Join us as we watch and discuss films on VOD and streaming platforms, deliberating on whether each is worthy of salvation or destined for destruction in the face of an impending asteroid apocalypse. I am Nathan Schuer, and accompanying me are the extraordinary movie mavens Brianna Budworth and Ellie Escobar. How are you?
Hola.
Well, before we begin the show today, I have an extremely important question for each of you to set the mood. What type of fowl will be escorting each of you when you have flown into the great beyond and through the pearly gates? B.
Wait, I didn't understand that question. Oh my God. What are you talking about?
I make these too hard.
Yes, you do.
I was going to say black-capped chickadee.
What the hell is a black-capped chickadee? I am like Tostitos. No, cheesy Cheetos.
Ellie, what kind of bird is going to escort you through the pearly gates when you die?
Oh, the bird. A seagull.
A seagull?
Yes.
Okay.
It's my favorite bird.
Okay, very good. Thank you. I'll simplify it next
What
time.
did you call it? Fowl?
What's yours?
Wait, what's it called? Fowl?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's another word for bird?
It encompasses all birds, yes.
Like a foul smell?
No, well, no. My bird. Oof, my bird is the blue jay. So I think it would have to be just a gigantic flock of blue jays.
That's pretty good. Yeah. I think mine was either gray jay or the chickadee because I see them when I'm hiking all the time, and I love them.
Chickadee. What does chickadee looks like?
Little and gray with a little black cap. It's cute.
I love birds.
Yeah. If you're a bird, I'm a bird, Ellie.
Yay! See?
Yeah. If you're a bird, I'm a bird.
So the film we are going to be discussing this week, if you haven't already guessed, is I don't know if you could find out from our introduction, is 2004's The Notebook.
Woo!
Yay! From Nick Cassavetes. Is it Nick Cassavetes or right? Nick Cassavetes.
Yeah.
Director, starring Ryan Gosling, Rachel McAdams, and we got
Gina Rollins, James Gardner.
Sam Shepard is in this, which I love. Sam Shepard. It's a really stacked cast. Who else? Joan Allen,
James Marsden.
There are more Academy Award nominees in this movie than most films, so it's an amazing stacked cast.
It helps when your mom is Gina Rollins.
I know. It's not really fair. I have a trailer that I'm going to play here, and then I'm just going to mention the little plot synopsis. So here's the trailer.
It was a magical summer. Noah was a country boy. Allie was from the city. They met the night of the carnival. They had nothing in common, but after seeing Allie that night, something inside Noah snapped.
Will you go out with me?
No!
No? Damn, my head's slipping.
Okay, fine. I'll go out with you.
No, don't do me any favors.
No, I want to.
Say it again.
I want to go out with you.
All right, we'll go out.
They fell in love, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
You want to dance with me?
Sure. This is a good story. I think I've heard it before.
It's like a dream.
So what do you do, Noah?
I work at the lumberyard.
How much do you make at your job?
40 cents an hour.
It has got to stop.
Noah?
He's a nice boy, but he is not for you.
So that was a clip from the trailer from The Notebook. And just a little brief plot synopsis. In 1940 South Carolina, mill worker Noah Calhoun, played by Ryan Gosling, and rich girl Allie, played by Rachel McAdams, are desperately in love. But her parents don't approve. When Noah goes off to serve in World War II, it seems to mark the end of their love affair. In the interim, Allie becomes involved with another man, James Marsden. But when Noah returns to their small town years later, on the cusp of Allie's marriage, it soon becomes clear that their romance is anything but over. Dun, dun, dun.
I love it. 10 out of 10. Immediately, yes.
So we don't have Sam with his all of his movie facts, but I'll just mention a few things, and we can all sprinkle some things in here. This came out on June 25th, 2004, and I had some other things here. This was hold on one moment. I'll probably edit this out.
It's a crazy year at the movies, 2004. Good year for summer blockbusters too.
I wouldn't know because I only focused on one movie that year.
So this came out the same day as White Chicks, if anyone saw that. And came out a week before The Terminal from Steven Spielberg, and Dodgeball, which came out on June 18th and released a week after Spider-Man 2, and Before Sunset, another very good movie of similar ilk. So just to give everyone a little bit of context of what was going on in the theaters at this time. The budget for this was $29 million, and the overall box office take, I believe, was $117.8 million. Like I said before, directed by Nick Cassavetes, written by Jeremy Levin, based on a book called The Notebook by Nicholas Sparks. This was his first novel for him, but the third adaptation. I think he had also done A Walk to Remember was another one that was adapted before this, and Message in a Bottle. I had actually seen both of those in the theater before this as well. So interesting. Cinematography by Robert Frasey. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. And music by Aaron Zigman, a nice Jewish boy, as my mom would say. Anyways, I don't know if he's Jewish, but let's get into this here. We're going to share we're just going to share our initial thoughts on this movie quickly, kind of spoiler free, and we'll get into the nuts and bolts of this. We're going to begin our thoughts with B. Tell us.
Hey.
How about The Notebook?
Well, it's not a shock to anyone on the screen at this point that I really like The Notebook. I'm a sucker for it. It wins me over every time. I think it's great. I understand everyone's problems with it. It's mawkish. It's over the top. It's overly sentimental. I understand that, through today's lens, their relationship can be seen as problematic, and I don't care at all. By the end of this movie, I am in tears. I am in shambles. Everything in this movie just works. I think, yes, it's cliched. Yes, it's a trope, but it's so well executed at every turn that you just can't not be swept up in it. And I'm swept up every time. The performances, we talked about the stellar casting in this movie. Again, Nick Cassavetes from a line of Hollywood and independent filmmaking. He was not going to make a movie that I didn't like, I think. I just think it's wonderful. I think it's a story that's really well told.
All right. And if you had to give this a rating?
4.5. This movie rips my heart out every time.
Okay. All right, Ellie.
Okay, so as if you guys didn't know yet, this is my favorite movie of all movies. I don't care how many great movies out there, even The Reverend, whatever. This is my movie. This is the one I'll take with me to the grave as well. And bury me with the Notebook right on it. Like legit. Okay, I'm obsessed with this film, and I literally watch these films once a month just because I love it this much. Yep, I do. And I'm not ashamed to say it. I love everything about this movie. So before this movie actually came out in 2004, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd already read Nicholas Sparks' The Notebook. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually had his book and I had read it. And I really loved the story when I read the story. And I thought, this would make a great movie. When the movie came out and it was announced, I lost my marbles. I thought, oh my God, somebody read my mind, because I said, I manifested it or something. And I waited patiently waited for this movie to come out, and it finally came out, and I went to see it, and then I went to see it again, and then I went to see it. Yeah, I spent a lot of money watching it, and I know every part of this movie. From the music, okay, the beginning when there's the birds flying by at the very beginning, the entrance music.
Yeah, when he's rowing on the Ashbury River.
Yeah, I cry every time that song comes out.
Gets you right away.
Oh no! Even before the movie begins, I'm already crying, just crying. I was just and so so many beautiful things, and if people think that it's too mushy or it's who cares? Obviously, if people don't like this movie, it's because they don't have a heart. That's number one. And if people don't like this movie, it's because they don't understand romance. And number three, if people don't like this movie, it's because they've never been in a relationship that means something. Okay? So unless you have all those three ingredients within yourself, you're not gonna like this movie. Okay? Having said that, the music, the wardrobe, oh my goodness, it's my favorite era. The 1940s, it's my favorite wardrobe era. I have dresses and hats from the 1940s. Shoes.
Yeah, costuming was great in this.
From the 1940s. I have everything from 1940s. The hair. What else? Ryan Gosling. Obviously, I love Ryan. And Rachel McAdams is one of my favorite actresses as well. So the story, I think it resonates with me so much is because I'm a hopeless romantic. I fall in love really quickly with whatever stands in front of me if it's right. So when I was 16, I fell in love for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And this story reminds me of when I was 16, falling in love, crazy in love, being stupid in love, and just doing stupid shit. Oops, I said shit. Okay, whatever. Doing stupid shit, right, with my boyfriend at that time, who happens to be my son's dad. And it's funny because in the movie, if you notice, Ali and Noah, they never made love until like they connect with each other again, right? Because when they were young, they were gonna do it and they didn't do it. So it's like it took me 5 years before I was convinced enough to be with my future whatever. And it's all those things, like this movie resonates with me in that sense. And I think it's the essence of loss, of that love that you've lost and you don't think you're gonna see again. And also because my parents didn't think much of Carlos's dad. That, you know, like my parents felt like he was no good. Like they wanted me to marry some doctor or lawyer or, you know, CEO. And, you know, I ended up with, you know, whatever. And so it's like he didn't go to college. I went to college. It's so many parts of this movie that resonates with me and my own love story. And also the fact that, you know, what's even sadder for me is that the part where Ali turns into getting Alzheimer's and eventually dementia, because my grandmother developed Alzheimer's and eventually dementia. And it, when she developed dementia, she thought of people as being monsters and trying to get to her, you know. So that part where Ali, when she's older and she's like, who are you, get away from me, she gets all scared. That's actually really true of people who have dementia. And so it's dear to me because of that, because I lived it with my grandmother, and it's so sad when they don't recognize you anymore. And I have a poem that I wrote for my grandma about how for a few seconds one day she recognized me, but then it went back to like nothing. So this movie is very dear to me for so many reasons, and I think that is why it's become one of my favorite, or not one, the favorite movie of my whole entire movie life. You know, and there hasn't been any movie that can top it. Nah, I have not seen any movie, not even Titanic, and I love Titanic. Okay?
Titanic's pretty good.
Yeah, but not even Titanic. Titanic might be my second one, but The Notebook is always going to be my number one. And like I said, it's I loved every part of this movie. So shame on you people who don't like The Notebook. You have no heart. And so yeah, that's yeah. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Nathan, do you have a heart according to Ellie? Let's find out.
Ellie, what is your rating?
Oh, a 10.
A 5.
Out of 5?
A 10.
A 10. Okay. I'm gonna put down 10. Okay. 10 out of 5.
So funny.
I'm gonna just put the caveat out there. I'm predisposed for a movie like this not to be my favorite type of movie. So I'm just gonna put that out there. I'm just gonna take everything I say with a grain of salt. All right. You can poop on me, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I felt this film was not that interested in doing much more than doing one thing. That was telling a very straightforward love story about Noah and Ali. It did that just fine. I thought these two characters were very stiff and cliched, and actually not all that likable.
Oh my God, what the heck were you watching?
I didn't find their characters. I didn't find their characters to be very well written. I need more from a love story. I need real characters that act like real humans would do in situations.
I think I love this because it skirts right over all that.
I felt almost nothing coming from either of them. In fact, they only seem to care about one thing, and that is themselves. The rest of the world, fuck them.
I don't think it's that harsh.
Fuck these two people. Fuck Noah and Ali.
Oh, when you're in love, do you really care about the rest of the fucking world? Excuse my language, but do you? No, when you're in love, you don't care about the rest of the
it
world.
seemed like they didn't care about the rest of the world. I mean,
no, because I'm not getting into spoilers yet. I'm not going to get into the movie. I'm just saying their characters felt like they only cared about. I'm Noah. I care about you, Allie. I'm Allie. I only care about you, Noah, and don't care about the consequences of anything else. Now, again, I'm not saying that makes a bad story. I just felt like it made them very unfleshed out characters, and I want more. And there's more to this. I'm not just dropping that bomb and walking away from it. I'm going to get into more. I'm going to say some good things. I love the setting of this film. I love the pacing of this film. And you mentioned some other things. I love the costuming. I love the music, the wardrobe, the scale of this, the atmosphere, the Carolinas. This movie is gorgeous. I want to soak in this movie. It is really great. There's so much about this I do love. I thought James Garner was fantastic in this. I love Joan Allen in this movie. I thought they were amazing.
Yeah.
Sam Shepard, I think he's fantastic. He is criminally underused.
He's super underused.
Super underused in this movie. I'm going to kind of leave it there. But like I said, overall, I don't hate this movie. I thought it was well crafted, but I just could not stand the way these two leads were portrayed. I'm not against romance in movies. I just kind of like my romance portrayed in something that connects with me in a different way. I'm going to get into it more because I have a lot more thoughts on what that's about. But for now, I'm going to say that's all I'm going to say. We're going to get into the plot some more. But this is a 2 out of 5 for me.
Wow.
He has no heart. He has no heart.
I have no heart.
He has no heart. He does not understand romance.
No, I think it's fair. I think though, like the James and Gina piece of this really sell it for me. And also they just have Noah and Allie when they're young, Ryan and Rachel have this incredible chemistry. Like, what stakes does there need to be? They're like 17, you know, like what rest of the world? They're 17. They're stupid.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Coincidence? I think not. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere, even at 30,000 feet. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
They're gorgeous and together and within each other's vicinity, and it's very glossy. And I think that's fine.
It's like, it's the element of bringing your child, the child like in you that I love about Ali and Noah for me.
All right, let's get into the plot because I want to hear more. I want to hear more about this because
you can lead us into this.
For me, the movie sort of kicks off with that like accidental meeting at the carnival, right? Mm-hmm. That's where we get to see them bump into each other. And Noah's a huge asshole here, but you can tell she's kind of into it. I don't think this, you know, as you said, this rich girl, this sort of out of touch, wealthy young woman who takes etiquette classes and all that has sort of had anyone stand up to her in this way and be so ballsy. And I think that kind of gets her going. I think that attracts her at first. And I don't know, I think it's just a fun meeting.
Nice girls
Fun
always
meet
go
cute.
for the asses. I'm sorry.
It's
It's happened to me, so
I don't think my issues are really with the first half of this movie. It's more with their relationship after the fact. When he goes to war and then they meet up again later, I think is more of my issue with it. You know, I'll say it now. I think I found the interesting thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way is what's supposed to be a sticking point with this is that Allie's parents, especially her mom, played by Joan Allen, who's great in this movie, one of her problems is that she's worried that Allie is going to go off with this country bumpkin and live this horrible life. This man's out of her class. This boy's out of her class. But Noah has already portrayed himself as a well-spoken, intelligent person. And when he comes back from the war, I get the beginning of this where like he's a 17-year-old, 18-year-old, he's got nothing. And she hides the letters, which also is kind of problematic. Like somehow like 365 letters are hidden from her for 7 years. Like how did not one letter get through? Like maybe one time she got to the mailbox before her mom in a year. Whatever. I'm gonna let that slide. Anyways,
well, I never got the mail. My mom always got the mail, so that's actually that can happen.
The one time
the first time I actually received a letter,
I don't have a major
I was
problem
26 years old. And
that's also
believe
crazy.
me, I did not know how to open up a mail until I lived with my parents until I was 26, and then I moved in with my new husband, who happened to be my boyfriend, and my mom really took care of everything.
Okay, sure.
So,
I mean, it's plausible.
It is possible.
It's plausible. Anyways, but more of my issue is that even after Noah has redone this mansion, this beautiful house,
plantation house,
at any given time, he could sell this house and make a killing on it. The guy is smart. He's intelligent. He's well-spoken. He clearly is an up-and-coming entrepreneur. He's got a future.
Yeah, but I think that's old money versus new money.
I know it's about class. It's all about class. Yeah. I have a problem with that though, because that is not enough for me. I guess if it's truly about class, I was like, that's still a weak plot point for me, because I would still be, because the mom is all about brings her daughter to this I don't know, it's not a coal, it's some place where she said, this is a man who was the love of my life. I could have ended up with. And I'm so glad I didn't do it, because this would have been the worst decision of my life. I don't want you to make the same choice. I didn't make that choice because it would be a horrible choice for you, or wants to show her what could be. Now, this is not even close to the same situation. This guy clearly is in his 50s or so. He's never moved up in life. He's shoveling dirt. This is not Noah. You know? So I was like, I can't compare these two guys. This is not a good lesson. I say, Mom, Noah is not going to be shoveling dirt. This guy.
I don't think that's what she meant, though.
That's exactly what he meant.
No, that's not what she meant. That's not why she took her there.
Don't make a mistake that you're going to regret.
That's not what she meant by that, though.
Tell me.
When she took her to see that guy, that mom has already come to she's already accepted the fact that Ali is not going to marry alone. And she takes her she tells her, like, I don't want you to make the same mistake that I did. Because why? She made the mistake of marrying somebody rich and leaving the love of her life behind because he was poor. So basically the mom is telling her, like, don't marry alone for the money. Don't make that mistake. That's how I got that scene. Not that she was trying to compare Noah to her old boyfriend. That's not what I get. That's not what I got from that.
I felt like she was trying to show her, like, look, this could be your life if you marry Noah. Okay. I didn't get that at all.
Not at all.
Okay.
Totally different. We're totally watching the different scene then.
We were.
Because that's how I took it.
How did you take that, B?
I kind of took it the way that you took it, Nathan, but when I watched it the most recent time, I was like, that's more ambiguous than I remember it being. It just was, but I always took it the way that you took it, Nathan. But maybe I missed out on something.
If she didn't want Ali to make that mistake of staying with Noah, then why give her the letters at the end?
That was after.
But she, right after she goes to show her about her boyfriend back then and how she made a mistake. What does she mean by a mistake? I totally get it, because before she goes, she gives her the 365 letters.
I mean, she had the letters with her. She knew she was going to give her those letters before she left.
What do you mean she knew she was going to give her the
Well,
letters?
she brought the letters with her.
Right, because she already had meant for her to understand that I could have ended up with the love of my life, but I didn't. But here it is. Don't make the same mistake that I did. And here are the letters. It should help you make a choice. That was so easy for Ali, because once she starts reading the letters, she knew exactly who she was going to end up with.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think, like I said, the most recent time I watched it, I was like, that is way more ambiguous than I remember. And I can totally see your point of view on this one, Ellie. I think, yeah.
I get your point. I get your point. I've not seen this 1,000 times like you have, and on my only watching, I took it maybe more at face value.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think, yeah. The more I read about it and watch it again, I was like, oh, I don't know. But
did you guys read the book?
Mm-mm.
Oh, well, then how are you gonna know? Read the book, then watch the film.
No.
Yeah. No. Oh, how are you gonna tell me? I read the book. I have the book.
I'm not trying to tell you. I'm just telling you how I interpret the movie. We're a movie podcast, not a book podcast.
Okay. Next.
What else here? I have some other notes on themes. There's a theme, obviously, class distinction. Is this sort of a Romeo and Juliet story? You know, I really don't. I already talked about our hang up about this with Noah. What else here? There was another thing that kind of rubbed me the wrong way on this. Again, everyone's gonna shoot me down here.
I don't know.
What is it, Nathan?
I think it's just my overall thoughts on.
Spill it. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
I'm going to talk about this later. This is just overall thoughts on these types of films. Let's talk about the plot some more. How about, I want to back up a little bit more about the first time they have a romantic encounter. They go to the house before it's remodeled. I can't think of a less sexy place to get on than an old dilapidated house.
You're 17. Anywhere's sexy.
Yeah, no. Dude. What the hell?
I'm thinking spiders, rats, mice, animal
Listen,
droppings, splinters, mold, cobwebs, and any moment the floor is just going to give way and they're going to get seriously injured. So, like,
didn't you go? Okay, what did you do when you were 16? Weren't you like getting into stupid places when you were 16, 17 with the person you loved?
Not in those types of places. No, that was
because you're very okay.
You're gonna get like hepatitis in that.
Dude, you can't. Then you're not very adventurous. Then I went to the woods. What are you talking about?
I'd rather be in the woods than that place.
Nah,
there's still spiders out there and rats. All right. Outside of, the class distinction stuff, you talked about themes, Nathan. One of the things I always think about with this movie, or it's less of a theme, I guess, more of a character trait that I think the movie does really well. You talk about them being a little flat as characters, which I think is fair. It doesn't bother me the way it bothers you. I think that's kind of one of the reasons I like the movie is it's so glossy. But I think it does a really great job at like threading Noah's, they set him up to be this impatient sort of combustible person, but I think he's so patient with Allie consistently. Like he freaking builds her a house. He waits all this time. He waits for her to decide about Lon. And then again, that thread carries through. And I think James Garner just picks it up like so beautifully and delicately and really just builds on that. Again, we have Gosling and McAdams really like at the beginning of their careers. McAdams right off of Mean Girls here, right? This is huge for them. And then you have these like 2 seasoned actors enter the scene and take those themes. And you have Allie as the hot-headed one. And, that stays the same. You can see Gina's really like putting up a front and temperamental. And she's still not sure some days. Granted, this time it's due to illness. But I think it's really beautiful to watch these veterans of film come in and pick up on those themes and thread it so delicately for half of the movie they're not even in.
Yeah.
I love watching that. That scene, the hospital scenes are my favorite.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I have I know I'm
I get where I'm not going to shoot it down.
The answer might be obvious here. No, I have a question here. So James Garner, and Gina Rollins. I mean, this is acting royalty. They're fantastic in this. Something that I wish I didn't catch on to early in this movie, that maybe if you were reading this book for the first time, or maybe back in 2004 when people were watching this in the theater, I don't know, for some reason, like I'm watching this movie, it was obvious to me right from the get-go that this is old Allie and old Noah. Was this supposed to be a bombshell or a shock that this is them in their older age? Because I was told, I watched this with Lori, my wife, and she said, "Yeah, this was supposed to be kind of like, at least in the book, it's supposed to be kind of ambiguous, or you're not supposed to know this as you're reading this. Like it's supposed to be kind of a surprise that this is the older version of them." And the moment I saw these two, like, well, that's Noah and Allie later in life. It was, and that took the drama out of it.
Well, why would you want it to be a surprise?
Well, I don't know. I'm just saying, is it supposed to be a surprise? Was it a surprise for you the first time you read this book? Or if you hadn't read this book?
When you read the book, the book starts just like the movie starts, with him talking about, what's the line that he says? I can't think of the line right. The very beginning starts with the narration. That's how the book starts. Yeah. And to me, when I read the book, it didn't seem like I knew somebody was talking about a romance that happened to them years ago. From that point of view, I knew that it was someone much older talking about it.
So my question is, was it obvious to you that this was the older couple? Like looking back at their that's all I was asking. How about
I don't remember. So this movie came out in 2004. I was like younger than Noah and Allie are supposed to be when this movie came out for me. So I don't remember my initial reaction. I think I remember being in the theater and being like, I'm pretty sure, like I figured something out, and then it reveals, because they do reserve the names until later, until it's dropped. He's Duke.
He's Duke. James Garner plays Duke in the movie.
Yeah, now it's just her pronouns. Yeah. So I think it is meant to be a reveal. But when I was doing some research for this movie, I found a bunch of deleted scenes where it was less of a reveal. So I'm wondering if they took those out to sort of like play at any kind of tension. I don't think it's super successful. I think the movie works if you know it's who it is. And I don't know. I think it's pretty clear.
I think so too. And that's what I was wondering. Am I missing kind of the fact that this is, it was supposed to be kind of like, oh my God, this is them? What? And like, I felt like, like I didn't get the big shock.
The bombshell.
The bombshell. Exactly. Cause maybe that was part of the big,
the hype,
the hype. Exactly. The hype around this is that, the reveal at the end, this is the couple later on. And that was part of the attraction to this movie. And that's what my wife said. That was a lot. That was a lot.
I wouldn't be surprised, especially with like how the names are hidden and stuff. I really wouldn't be surprised. And then you close the book and it's her that wrote it and all that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But as I was watching, I knew nothing about this movie. Knew nothing. I knew that Ryan Gosling and Rachel McAdams was this movie. I know it's a love story. That's it. But
wait, this was your first time ever watching it?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
It just clicked for me.
Yeah. So, but what I'm saying is maybe because I've seen so many movies and I just know movie tropes so well. It's like, of course, these are the two older ones. So that was like, my brain went there immediately. So like, I was like, when are they going to get to that? That maybe just didn't have the impact in like, and then the movie thought it was being clever. And I was like, no.
I don't think the movie's being clever. I think it's meant to have an impact and it's not being super clever about it. That just doesn't bother me. I don't think it affects anything. I'm not waiting on that tension.
It doesn't change the story whether it has an impact or a bombshell or whatever.
No, it doesn't.
But it's something to know, yeah.
To me, I was so invested in the characters that nothing else really mattered.
To get back a little bit about the characters and why I felt they were a little thin. Again, this is just, I'm not going to harp on this too much, but one example, and I'm just going to leave it here and we can drop this conversation. Prime example. There are two, I think, significant deaths in this movie that have no bearing on this movie or Noah, which pissed me off. He loses his best friend in the war. And it's like such a throwaway moment. I think it's Finn. His friend is Finn, and he just kind of looks at him, and I feel like it's like there's nothing going on at all with Noah or Gosling at all. I don't think it's not played out in any significant way. And his dad dies in the most unceremonious way ever. Like he just kind of is just gone. I love Sam Shepard. I think he's, like we already said, he's underused in this movie, and he has a couple great moments in this.
Pancakes.
The pancake scene. Yeah, it's great. And there's no impact, I feel like, to the Noah character losing his dad. It's just like, well, I just care about Allie, and it's just on to Allie. And I wish that losing his dad changed Noah somehow, or gave him a new perspective on things.
The story wasn't about Noah and his dad, though.
No shit, and that's why I have a problem with this movie.
Well, I don't.
Okay, but here's the thing.
I actually Noah think and his dad and the dad. It was more about Noah and Ali, and that's all I care for as an audience. What do I care about how his dad died?
Because
there's some good deleted scenes.
When people die in your life, it affects your relationships, and that's what I care about. Like,
yeah, but that wasn't the focus of the movie.
I know. And
so, what are you crying about? The dad? Let it go.
I actually think the death did impact Noah. I disagree. I think you see it. I think he's a different person when he's working on that house than he is before the war. Yeah, I think he comes back from the war and he's working on the house. I think he's like, first of all, he looks like Grizzly Adams. He's hollow. He's got like this girlfriend that he doesn't really care about. He's obviously just using her. He's half drunk all the time. He's doing stupid woodworking shit. Like, I think he gets kind of depressed. I think he's lost kind of everything.
I think he's depressed because he saw Ali kissing that man in that restaurant, and that's what made him go fix that house even faster. And I think he feels that he's lost Ali for good.
But I think he's lost everyone at that point.
Yes,
like there's no one else. You know what I mean? Like the three relationships we see him have in this movie are gone.
Remember in the movie when he's at the cemetery that he says, and he had no one now.
Yeah,
he had nobody now except for like the damn house. But nobody. Yeah. So it could be a combination of both. He's lost Ali and he's lost his dad.
Life's a little relentless on Noah at this point in his life, you know? Yeah. The girl's for sure gone, dad's gone, Finn's gone. I don't know. Yeah, but they don't play up his dad's death, but I do think that helps like with the pacing of the movie, which we agree is really good. You know, I love Sam Shepard and the deleted scenes with him are awesome, but I do wonder if we started fleshing out familial relationships even more, because we get so much. It's really the Allie show. We get so much of that on the Allie side. If we lose that movement, you know. Okay, what about how do you feel about Lon? Because he's a character that really doesn't have a lot.
He doesn't really. We don't know much about Lon. James Marsden's character. I kind of feel bad for James Marsden. I like him as an actor, but he gets these roles. He plays the.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
With the Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
This is your captain speaking. We've got clear runway and the weather's fine, but we're just going to circle up here a while and get lucky. No, nothing like that. It's just these cash prizes add up quick. So I suggest you sit back, keep your tray table upright, and start getting lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Are you feeling lucky? No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
This like douchey side character. I kind of want him to get better roles. And this is early in his career. He's gotten some good roles since then. I don't know.
I mean, didn't he go on to be in the TV show Once Upon a Time, which is also schlocky?
I like James Marsden a lot. And I think Lon's actually probably would make a very good husband. He's shown nothing.
I don't trust him.
What?
I don't trust him.
Lon. I think he's just, Lon represents what would be the relationship that Allie would, he parallels, her parents' relationship, is what it is.
He's rich, like the parents.
Exactly.
He's rich and charming, and he's of the world. Yeah,
I don't trust him. I don't trust him.
And actually, Allie's dad, who at first I think is going to be like kind of an asshole, he doesn't really do anything wrong either. He's just kind of there. But I have no problem with Lon at all. He's probably a perfectly nice, charming man. Doesn't seem abusive. He drinks a little bit, but everybody did in the 40s.
I feel like Lon would turn into a womanizer eventually, especially when Allie walks into the office. He's having a meeting with the other men, and she walks in, and there's a second where he makes a face, and I'm like, but right there.
I think Lon is like the pinnacle of emotional maturity in this movie. He's doing better than everyone else is in terms of emotional maturity. When she comes to him and he's like, I've had this affair, I don't know what to do. And he's like, hey, listen, I can move on. I want to be with you, but I need to know that you're going to, here's my conditions for that. And she makes a choice to be with Noah, who actually I think is the better match for her on that level.
He actually says something, to piggyback off that, very mature. He says, I could kill him, I could kill you, I could leave you, but none of these three scenarios do I have
Get me you. Yeah.
Which, I love that line, and it just shows his maturity in this. He knows where he's at in this whole thing.
And he even justifies her behavior a little. He's like, hey, your first love, it all came back. I get it, but it just can't happen again. Like, Allie gets a lot
sneaky.
He could have thrown his whiskey glass and slapped her.
Those are the worst. Men like Lon, I will run fast away because they're sneaky. They'll show you this charm and this maturity and this blah, blah, blah. And once they got you where they want, their true colors come out. This is why I don't trust. Whereas Noah, he's like, what you see is what you get. Those are the men that I actually.
What do you want, Allie?
No,
that's improvised. That scene. That what do you want? That's improvised.
Really? Oh my God, that's so cool.
Noah's also a fantasy.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
fantasy.
they both are. Yeah, this whole movie is. This is all archetypes and fantasies and teenage rebellion and so what? What? That doesn't have to be bad.
What do you mean fantasies? This actually does happen to people, though.
Okay.
I'm a witness of these things. I've lived this romance, not one time, but 3 times already.
It is true, Ellie.
I have lived it.
You shared your.
You know my little romances there, and I'm telling you, this does happen. I've been in a predicament where I was getting married to a man, and on my wedding day, another guy that I comes up and says, I'm gonna get on my private jet and then gonna go stop that wedding on my wedding day. So this shit does happen. Maybe not a lot, but I know I'm a witness.
To you it does.
To me, I guess it does. And this is, but I'm sure I'm not the only one that this happens
to.
We talked about the impeccable performances. Can we talk about the casting that almost was and whether it would make the movie even better or worse? Because there's some
not just the casting, but who was the original director? That was a couple of people were originally on board to direct this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's right.
Was
it Steven Spielberg who wanted Tom Cruise as Noah?
This is This is back in 1998,
96.
This is This is right after Jerry Maguire.
No, I get it. But Can we just say how Spielberg-y this movie is? Like, you watch this movie, you're like, I get it. I could see this going with Spielberg.
So Ellie, picture this: romantic, straightforward romance. Did you like Always?
No.
Okay, there you go.
No.
What was his last romance movie?
Spielberg cannot make romance movies. He does not. He was not born to make romantic movies.
Oh, but he's so sentimental and mawkish.
No, Mr. Spielberg is a nice
you saw the Fablemans.
director. He's done some great
He's
films.
a nice director.
But let me tell you, Mr. Spielberg, I'm sorry. I love you. I love your movies. But
you sound like Aretha Franklin talking about Taylor Swift. You're like, she has some nice dresses.
But you're not a romantic person. Sorry.
We would have gotten a more complicated romance, that's for sure.
Maybe.
I am super interested in the people that they almost picked for Allie. And it sounds like they were going through every, high B, low A lister here. Jessica Biel was up. But the one that really almost made the cut was Britney Spears.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if any of you have seen the audition tape.
Yes.
What did we think?
It's hard to tell with such
For
a short
For
clip
For
Britney?
Britney.
Oh,
Britney Spears
God.
audition tape. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
I'm
first
not
of all,
going to judge anybody, but
has anyone seen her movie Crossroads?
Yes.
okay,
Of course
dude,
I
I just saw it just popped in Netflix the other day, Crossroads, and I'm
Yeah.
thinking like, why? God,
Yeah, well, I was born in the
Why?
90s and I have two eyes connected to a heart. So yeah, I've seen Crossroads.
So
Okay.
I have not seen Crossroads. B, how do you evaluate her acting chops in Crossroads?
It's not stellar. I wouldn't say it. I think Rachel McAdams was the right choice for this
She
film.
does come from the Mickey Mouse Club, doesn't she?
She does, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like her and Ryan
She's got
both
some
did.
acting
You
under her.
know, 100%. It's not. I think she would have been fine. I think this movie sings because of who was casted or who was cast in this movie.
Some other. I want to make another comment about Rachel McAdams, but some of the other names on here: Scarlett Johansson, Claire Danes, Jennifer Love.
That could have been
Hewitt,
cool.
No.
Ashley
I
Judd.
could see that.
I'm glad they didn't do Ashley Judd.
Yeah, that would have been wrong.
But Reese Witherspoon, this is in her wheelhouse.
Nope.
100%.
Nope.
Reese could do this.
No.
I'm glad Rachel does it, but Reese could.
No.
Yeah. Rachel McAdams, I think she's young in this and raw in this. I think she's gotten so much better in the last 20 years. And, I think she's a lot more attractive now than she was back then too. I think she's really, I think she's a lot prettier now in her 30s, and she's probably 43 now than she was in her early 20s now. Also, I think for some reason I find her a lot more attractive now than she was in this movie. I don't know what it is. I think she's just,
green.
She's grown into her
I also
face
just
looks
like,
now,
I don't know. I'm in my 30s. I tend to see people who are in their early 20s and they're just like cookie dough that hasn't gone in the oven yet. I'm like, I don't know. You might be attractive one day, but not yet. I think she's great in this. She's young and she's raw, but like so is the role, and then you have Gina to carry the heavy stuff, which I think is perfect. Ryan's pretty green in this too.
Yeah, but he'd done a few things. I watched. I'm going to get to it in a bonus show, but I watched the other night because I wanted to do some homework for some early Ryan Gosling movies. I saw a movie called The Believer, which came out in 2001.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, and he plays a skinhead in that, and it's a tough, hard role. But yeah, it was interesting. It's probably the earliest role I've seen him in something. But yeah.
Well, this is a fun, back to McAdams, this is a fun 180 from Mean Girls, I know I brought that up before, but I think she's going against type like right away.
You want to hear a confession?
Yeah. Have you never seen Mean Girls?
I've not seen Mean
Girls. You would love Mean Girls, Nathan. It's so funny. You would. It's so funny.
I hear this. I do want to see it. I really do want to see it.
That's up your
my 12-year-old has seen it as well. The musical is in the theater too, and they wanted to see it at that as well. And I haven't had a chance, but
yeah, it's up your street.
Yeah. There was one other thing I wanted to mention, and because I wanted to give my opinion some more context, because I feel like the hate mail is going to be flying in really soon, and I want to say something here because,
of course you do.
How do I say this? like I said before, this movie, I feel like is very much of a straightforward romance, and I think, and I said it's full of cliches. The Notebook is just is full of them. Now I don't hold that I don't hold that against this any more than I would any other film in any other genre that plays it right down the middle. This movie plays it so much right down the middle, and I hold all films up to the same standards. I want everyone to know that, whether it's horror, action, sci-fi, mystery, whatever. What I do know about my tastes is that I gravitate towards romance when it overlaps into other genres. Give me, rom-com with a sci-fi element, like Eternal Sunshine, Happy Accidents. Give me romantic action. Give me romance disguised as a horror film, like Bones and All came out a couple of years ago. I love that movie.
That was a fun movie.
Time travel, Midnight in Paris. Also with McAdams, straightforward rom-coms, Barefoot in the Park, The Apartment, When Harry Met Sally, another romance film, sad to watch, but difficult to watch with Ryan Gosling is Blue Valentine. I need a film to make me feel more than one thing. And I think that's a limitation to this movie. I don't go, I cry at movies all the time when I feel my heartstrings pulled. It happens to me all the time. And it doesn't happen with straightforward, like love stories. It happens when there is more than one type of emotion pulling at me.
There's no heart in there.
But I think
we don't get it.
Okay, so
when I'm torn, when I'm pulled in different directions, and I only feel one thing pulling at me here. One thing is happening here, and that's not enough for me. And that's
that's the way you feel. I
that's my
can't.
mic drop moment.
Okay, that's the way you feel. Wonderful. I'm sorry for you, but I get it. I get it. But that actually dovetails really nicely into something I want to talk about too, which is, you talk about it's just a straightforward romance. It's just one thing. Depending on the ending that you watch.
Yes. Yeah. Let's talk. Oh, we have to talk about that. Yeah.
Depending on the ending.
Let's talk about that for a moment. So, Ellie.
Yeah.
We actually have to talk about how we watch this movie. You've seen this movie. B, you've seen this movie many times.
Yep.
I watched this movie for the first time on Max, streaming on Max, HBO Max. It was on Netflix for a while. When you first watched this movie, each of you, how did you watch this? In the theater?
Yep.
On home video? What was the ending for this movie?
Theater.
How did it end? And what happened in the end?
They died peacefully.
Yeah. Together.
They died
holding hands.
Yep.
They died peacefully lying in bed holding hands.
Yep.
She remembers him, and that's how they spend their last few minutes.
And the nurse comes in at the end.
The nurse comes in.
Yeah.
And then fades out.
Yeah.
So is that the version you've only seen?
That's the only version
No.
I know.
So how
that's the only version I know.
So did you watch it this week to prepare for the show?
Me?
Or just from memory? Yeah.
I have the
watch it?
DVD.
So you have a DVD.
Okay. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Okay.
getting at. You have a DVD
Ellie,
copy of this.
Yeah.
So
It's streaming on Max right now, and they cut that final scene. They don't show them dying on Max.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, what? Can they even do that?
This is some alternate ending, and I don't know if it's Max specifically or if it's the director.
I looked into this.
This is some alternate ending bullshit, frankly, because I think the clincher of this movie is the ending. On Max, you see her remembering.
Yeah.
You see him smiling. They don't get into bed together. They don't hold hands and pass away. The nurse doesn't come in. It fades to black 3 minutes earlier.
The best.
The whole point. So if this is your first time watching the movie and you don't get that facing mortality, facing dementia, facing losing the memories of the things and people we love,
dying old with the person that you forever loved.
It's completely ambiguous how it ends, because like I said, it basically shows them kind of laying down in bed, and it fades out to a bunch of geese or ducks flying, and it's this is supposed to represent
the beginning starts with the geese flying.
Yes, and I think it's supposed to represent them possibly dying and the afterlife. And
no,
that's the whole. But that's what it's trying to. But here's the story. This movie, I blame the studio for this, because it was uploaded to Netflix UK, and this is the version that was sent to them. I mean, this is a 20-year-old movie, and it's probably been streaming for 10 years already, or at least, because streaming movies have been around since like 2010 or so more than 14 years now. And this is the version that was, I think, done by mistake. They accidentally sent it to Netflix UK by mistake, this alternate version. And it's been that way since. You have to go onto YouTube to find
a clip.
The original. Now, well, you have your DVD copy of it that shows them dying, and the next morning the nurse finding them passed away in bed. The original version of it is
also shout out to that nurse.
Yeah. Great ending to the movie. That's not what's available to the world right now.
That makes me mad.
It does.
I know.
It makes me really mad. How stupid can they get, though?
Yeah, this pisses me off, because I'll tell you right now, if I'd seen that original ending, it would have definitely had a much more emotional impact to me seeing that, because that's the kind of stuff that does pull on your heartstrings. And maybe they wanted a more, I don't know why. Here's the thing. I don't understand why they're not fixing
20 years later.
Wait, do we know why they did that? Why did they cut that scene out?
It's supposedly it's a mistake. If you just Google like, why does The Notebook have an alternative ending streaming on Netflix or Max, there's a couple articles explaining that it was done on Netflix UK and has not been fixed. There's no explanation why it has not been fixed, but you'll find a couple articles about it. It's really disappointing, and it makes me kind of upset, because I can't go back now and capture that feeling, because I now went back and I saw that alternative ending 2 days after I watched the movie. Like, well, I wish I'd segued into that immediately. It's sad. So, audience, if you're out there, I highly encourage you, do not stream this movie on Max. If you can go to your library, or if you have it on DVD, or make sure that you can get your hands on that, because that is definitely the way to watch this movie. Find out if anyone has the answer to this, why that's the case. I'd like to know, because I'm not finding the information online.
Yeah, and I don't know either, but
there's a conspiracy. There is a conspiracy going on here.
Something is up, and the fact that people are missing the best part of the movie.
It is. Seriously, it totally is. It really is. It's unfortunate.
Did you actually see the ending, Nathan?
Yeah, we had to go on YouTube.
I did. I had to go on YouTube and watch it. I watched it on my phone. Like, it was pathetic.
David Lynch is coming for you, man. Watching movies on your phone.
Well, it was like a 2.5 minute video, but like.
Yeah, it's so deflating, and it's such a bummer. I'm not sure why that's happening, but yeah, go to your library, find a used DVD somewhere, something that gets you the real deal. Yeah. I'd be interested, like, if we ever get like a 25th anniversary release of The Notebook.
Oh my god! Right?
If they what they include on it, I don't know. Crazy.
Wow.
I don't know if there's I'm actually going on Blu-ray.com for a quick moment to see if there is the most recent release.
Mm-hmm.
So the most recent thing, it's nothing since the Ultimate Collector's Edition came out in 2013. That's the last publication release. The Ultimate Collector's Edition, which is Blu-ray, DVD, digital HD. Yeah, so it has not been something that is they're not giving this much love, this movie.
Wow, that's just crazy. Wow.
Yeah. It's weird, because this is a mid-budget studio film. This isn't like some obscure movie that nobody cares
about.
Right,
like it felt like I was having like a Mandela effect,
No,
like,
oh my god,
really? Like if the real ending didn't exist on YouTube, I was gonna be, because when I was watching it at home this time, I've seen this movie so many times, I was sort of second screening it, and then we got to the end and I didn't see it. I actually rewound a couple of times because I was like, wait a minute, Like there was just this lost limb in the film. It was
I mean,
jarring and
in
strange.
in the book, the story ends with them. The book basically, I can't believe they took that out of freaking
Is it
story.
in the book? Is that the ending in the book?
So obviously because the movie, the nurse comes in, right?
Yeah.
But in the book, they end up together and next to each other, and like, and
Yeah.
and in the book, he says, I think I have the book here.
Recite the book for us. We'll make this 20 hours.
An audiobook. We're no longer a movie podcast. We're audiobooks.
No, seriously. I just what the heck is that? Go away. In the book, he says, I enter her. So he enters her room.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
And he says, I enter the room quietly, everything's dark, like in the movie, right? Because he enters the room, right? And everything, and in the book it says, as I enter the room, I know where everything else from memory. So I enter the room, and I got it right here because I have it on Kindle too, and I have it on paper. I bought them both. I have it in paper format, and I also have it in Kindle, just because, just because it's one is not enough.
I'm gonna go on Cameo, Ellie, and have buy time for Gosling to recite the Notebook for you. Okay.
Oh my goodness! Oh my god, here it is. And he says in the book, he says, I'm just gonna give you the last paragraph. He says, and when her lips meet mine, I feel a strange tingling I have never felt before. In all our years together, but I do not pull back, and suddenly a miracle, for I feel her mouth open, and I discover a forgotten paradise. Unchanged all this time, ageless like the stars. I feel the warmth of her body, and as our tongues meet, I allow myself to slip away as I had so many years ago. I close my eyes and become a mighty ship in churning waters, strong and fearless, and she's my sails. I gently trace the outline of her cheek, then take her hand in mine. I kiss her lips, her cheeks, and listen as she takes a breath. She murmurs softly, oh, Noah, I've missed you. Another miracle, the greatest of all, and there's no way I can stop the tears as we begin to slip towards heaven itself. And then
So they die.
Yeah, he died. So for at that moment, the world is full of wonder as I feel her fingers reach for the buttons of my shirt, and slowly, ever slowly, she begins to undo them one by one. So obviously that's the book, but there is that essence where he comes into the room, because the paragraph before he talks about how he comes into the room and it's dark and he knows it by memory, and then the last paragraph is where he lays down next to her, they kiss. For him, it's a miracle because he was
she remembers.
transported. Yeah, she remembers, and in the movie he says, do you think our love can take us away? Right? Do you think our love is strong enough to take us away somewhere? And it's the same thing in the book. He said, basically saying, we kissed, hold hands, and we slipped into heaven.
Yeah. I want to read this quote from Gina Rollins about the movie, which is, I really love it. It's from 2016 interview, and it's a little bit shady towards her own son and his capabilities, but I think it's such a mom quote, and it sort of says what you're talking about, Ellie. She said, I didn't think it would have had that kind of impact. I think it was such a big hit because it was about the realization that love can last your whole life. You don't see it depicted that way a lot. In most films, you don't get to see a story like that go from the beginning to the end with the possibility that love can be perhaps eternal.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Especially not the movies that Gina made with her husband. Show a much different kind of romance.
But there you go. There you go. And I think that's the part that if they took that scene out of that movie, then you don't
Changes the whole movie.
Yeah, it changes it. You don't get to see the sweetness and the whole.
And I think it really ties in the fact that like it was a real thing. Like that's the thing that Noah and Allie are fighting when they're young. They're like, this is real. It's not just a phase, Mom. And then she goes on with Lon and her mom's like, all right, maybe it wasn't just a phase. And then even in the nursing home, she's like, no, I remember, it's real. It's always been you. And it was as real for her as it was for Noah.
There's a quote in the movie that really I always loved, and it says, I've always oh my God, I forget how it goes. Maybe you guys remember. But I just remember Bertley says, but of this, I'm sure I have always loved another with all my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like right now I'm, divorced and everything, like I've dated Carlos's dad for 10 years and then was married to him for 16 years. Like he was like, he was my high school sweetheart, right? So, so I always said, I always thought I was gonna die with my high school sweetheart. I always thought that, like, well, this is the person, and then shit happens, right? So,
Sure.
but what I think that for me, the idea of this quote and there are certain words even in the book that resonate with me is because even though I don't have that anymore, I'm not married, I'm not dating anyone, I don't have a boyfriend, I don't care to have a boyfriend, right? And I don't even care to date. I am a hopeless romantic, but unless it's, I don't like the idea of being set up on a date because I don't think that makes it a real thing. If your friend sets you up with a friend of them, that's not real to me. Nope. If your brother or sister sets you up, to me, it has to be real when it happens by serendipity, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like serendipity happened, the universe brought us together, and that to me is the real romance. That's the real thing for me. And until that doesn't happen, I don't really care, But the thing is, it doesn't even matter because I loved another with all my heart and soul that I don't feel like missing anything anymore, So I totally get it. I totally get what Noah says, right? Yeah. Because at the end of the night, when I go to bed, like I have friends that say, "Oh, but don't you feel lonely?" I'm like, never. I never feel lonely. In fact, I'm full of love. Just the fact that I've had so many times serendipity happen to me and fallen in love. And it ends, but at least I got to love. So what you got to lose? Nothing.
Yeah.
Right. All right.
So Nathan, are you converted?
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna bump my score up from a 2 to 2.5.
Wow, I'll take it. That's pretty good. That's perfectly average, right down the middle, just like you said.
Your sound never showed up.
It's okay. No, we the only reason why he's not here, you mentioned it, is that he got his car stuck in some snow. It sounds like
Sam.
Poor Sam.
I feel so bad. It sucks.
Well, we're gonna take just a quick break here and do my housekeeping. Then we're gonna come back with our MVP and our decision if it's gonna go into our vault or not. So we just want to thank you for tuning into our show. Your feedback would be greatly appreciated. Tell me, am I completely crazy for my opinions on this, or are Ellie and B like completely on the mark with loving this film? Let us know.
Tell him he's crazy. Please tell him he's crazy.
Yeah. Reach on out to us. You can email us at backtotheframerate@gmail.com or on our socials, Facebook, Instagram, Threads, TikTok. That handle is Back to the Frame Rate. Also, we have our Twitter, or X, and that's back frame rate. Sign up for a newsletter, Frame Rate Monthly. And the best way of doing that is by sending us an email at backtotheframerate@gmail.com. Help us spread the word. If you love what you're hearing, please share our episodes on your socials. Tell your friends who love movies. Leave a comment. Go on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you listen to our show. Leave a rating review. We would really, really appreciate it. That's it. Yeah. Our website is backtotheframerate.com. And that's a great place to find all of our episodes. All right. So let's get to our MVPs, and then we're going to get to our decision on whether this movie gets saved in our vault or purged out into the fiery apocalypse. So first of all, B, what is your MVP of this movie?
That's such a good question. It's just really anything with James and Gina. But you know what? I'm going to shout out the actual ending. The actual ending with James and Gina. Was that yours?
I was debating between that and one other thing, but since you mentioned that really is it. And we've talked about that a lot already. That actual YouTube, they call it kind of like a deleted scene, which is actually kind of tragic. It's not a deleted scene. It is the original ending of this movie, and that should be enjoyed by all. So that's a really good pick. Ellie, is there one thing you can point to that is your MVP of this movie?
Well, the ending of the movie, but since B already picked there's another MVP. And as much as I love young Ali and Noah, I have to go with the one where they're having dinner and she's dancing with him. Because for a moment she's back to him.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And I'm getting teary-eyed right now just thinking about that scene. Because I tell you, this movie just brings out the tears out of me, right? But the reason that is such a touching scene for me is because it reminds me again of my grandmother when she, for a second, had a moment of, a conscious moment, and she saw me, and for a grandchild, and
just meant a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. I grew up with my grandmother. She took care of me since I was little. So to know that she doesn't, to be standing in front of that person and know that she doesn't remember you, that she doesn't know you, is heartbreaking. So I can imagine what it was like for Noah to know that Ali, the love of his life, couldn't remember him or didn't know that it was him. So that for a split second, she does, and they dance, and she asks about her kids. And I remember that time when my grandmother, for a split second, she saw me, and she's like, she called me Tita, and she's like, Tita, what have you been doing? And I'm like, oh, it just took me by surprise. And
wow,
it was the one split moment that I'll never forget. I didn't go to her funeral because I didn't want to. After she got sick, I didn't have any more. I didn't see her anymore. She went back to El Salvador, and that was the last time I saw her. When she had that split second, and she saw me. Sorry.
You okay, Ellie?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well, this has to go in the vault.
So Now that I said all of that, that's my MVP moment. And I think this is more than the love story. I think this is why I love this movie so much.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, well, don't look so somber. What the heck?
All right.
What's your MVP?
Well, I had something kind of snarky, but I don't want to follow up with it.
No, you have to. No, I don't care. You have to do it. You have to do it. I don't care if it's snarky. You have to do it now. You have to do it.
So I like to laugh, and there was like a guffaw moment in this movie that like I just like fell out of my chair when I was watching it, and that was when they went for a boat ride, and there was like, God damn it, like 700 ducks or geese that they were going through, like a blanket of ducks. I'm like, this is an absurd, obscene amount of ducks. Did they have a blue light special at the Piggly Wiggly that
Did
day?
you read how they filmed that?
Oh yeah, it was actually amazing how you want to explain it, because but it is, but like I'm telling you, there was like some crazy deal on ducks that day. Explain it, B, because it is remarkable what they had to do to get that many ducks.
Crazy. So the studio was like, you can't do this. There's too many ducks. It's never going to work.
That's my MVP. That's my MVP moment of like that moment. Like, I was like,
this is a great choice, because the studio was like, you can't do it, and animal wranglers were like, there's no way. These birds aren't trained. You can't do this. So Nick Cassavetes and the crew went down and bought like a big trailer back of one of those semis and talked to a bunch of animal people, and they bought like hatchlings, like all these tiny birds. Like they bought that many of them and started feeding them out on the lake, so that by the time they were filming, the birds were grown, but they were so used to going to the lake for food that they would be there for the scene that they needed.
That's called playing the long game.
God.
Can you imagine if that didn't work? So I like to think of this, in prep for the roles. Ryan Gosling talks about how he learned carpentry and he built some of the furniture that we see.
Did he really?
Yeah. And Rachel McAdams took ballet classes and etiquette classes, and those ducks learned where the food was. Those geese learned where all the food was. So everybody had to prepare for this role for once.
8-second shot.
Including the geese.
Today, those would be CGI ducks.
If you're a bird, I'm a bird. You're a bird, I'm a bird.
All right.
I do have to say something though. I love this movie so much that after I watched it in 2004, I picked up oil painting.
Oh, really?
That's awesome.
I did.
Such an impact on you. I am so impressed.
That's awesome. Right.
Yep. I even had the big stand there, the
easel.
The easel, yeah. And yeah.
That's pretty cool. I want to see your paintings.
Yeah, I could. Yeah,
the big question we have to get to it. So, B, does this movie go into the vault or not?
So interestingly, I want to say it does. Let's get that out of the way. It goes in the vault for me. But you brought up a movie earlier that I had thought about as well before we started recording, listeners. We were talking about movies like this, and When Harry Met Sally came up. And that's, obviously a comedic take on a couple that on the surface really don't like each other and get along. And, so I think of The Notebook as like such the blueprint, but that's just sort of, I think, because of when it came out in my life and when I had seen it in relation to other movies. There's obviously movies that have done this sort of trope before. Many of them, this just executes it really well. So I was sort of toying with the should it, shouldn't it? Is it really exemplary? But I just throw it in there. It's a good movie. We're going to need some cathartic cries at the end of the world.
Yeah.
But put the virgin in with the real ending.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. All right. Ellie, does this movie get saved?
Yeah. Do you even need to ask me that question, Nathan?
We have to go on the record.
Yes, it is going in the vault because just in case we need to explain to people about what Alzheimer's and dementia was back in the day.
Oh, I can give you a list of movies about Alzheimer's and dementia.
Yeah,
Stop
no,
it right
this
now.
one is gonna go in the vault because we also want to show what a fun time it is to fall in love when you're a 16, 17-year-old. And when your parents are like rich and your boyfriend's not.
Okay.
That's
Damn it, it's just going in the vault.
It's just,
And without Sam here.
all right. I mean, no, this was not my favorite film, and I aired my grievances with it. So I would not typically put this in the vault. So, but I'm outvoted because Sam is not here. So we have a majority today. So the Notebook goes into the vault.
Beep, 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 beep.
There we have it. Save for posterity and for the future generations to enjoy. All right. Well, I think that about does it.
Wrap it up. Rock and roll.
Let's wrap it up. So
Wrap it,
we
wrap
are
it.
so that is our show. Back to the Frame Rate is part of the Weston Media Podcast Network. We also wish to thank Brian Ellsworth for our show opening. Thank you, Brian. On behalf of all of us, we bid you farewell from the Fallout Shelter. Your presence in our underground sanctuary is truly appreciated. We are truly sorry you cannot join us, but we want to express our gratitude for your company. If you are finding solace on our discussions, we kindly ask that you please subscribe and leave a rating and review. Your support is the beacon of light that brightens our confined space. Head on over to Apple Podcasts or iTunes, Spotify, or whichever portal connects you to our broadcast and share your thoughts. Until we emerge from the fallout, stay with us, keep hope alive, and keep those reviews coming. This is the end of our transmission. Back to the Frame Rate, signing off.
I want you to know it's over.
Well, bye.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.
This is where projects come to life. Our showrooms are designed to inspire with the latest products from top brands, curated in an inviting, hands-on environment, and a team of industry experts to support your project. We'll be there to make sure everything goes as planned, from product selection to delivery coordination. At Ferguson Bath, Kitchen, and Lighting Gallery, your project is our priority.
Schedule your showroom consultation and see more from brands like Monogram at build.com/Ferguson.